thank you for joining another episode of CATAnet Live TV. Today I'm fortunate to have with us JP Cody Cox from the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs. For those who don't know, CATA and the CAFC have had a very long history together. We've taken the executive director and other fire chiefs to China with us on a number of missions. We've had and enjoyed their participation at our annual vendor outreach forum for the last 6 years. We have representatives serving on our Public Safety Advisory Board, and we've done shared research and a number of different initiatives together. So it's a real pleasure under the relatively new guidance and leadership of JP Cody Cox to continue the relationship between CATA and the CAFC. And I asked him to join us today to talk a little bit more about what that collaboration will involve, give us a little bit more information about the CAFC itself, and how the stakeholders listening today, be you industry, firefighters, other public safety agents, can work with us to enhance that collaboration. JP, thank you for joining me today. Certainly looking forward to this conversation. Why don't you say hello and introduce yourself to our audience?
Thanks, Kevin. And yeah, JP Cody Cox, Executive Director of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs. And yeah, just happy to be here today and answer some questions around what we're doing and where we're going with CATA.
Excellent. Before we get into some of the details, you know, I think when people think technology and fire responders, they don't necessarily understand the depth of the technology applications that you use. Maybe you could take a few moments to explain what are some of the technologies that firefighters are using, and what are the challenges today in the use of those technologies?
Well, I mean, communication is a big piece. Our relationship with CATA, as well as the partnerships we've built out with the other tri-services and police, paramedics, through CITIG and our EM committees, communication's a big nut to crack there. Not just really, you know, it's not just at the incident level, but it's also now at the forefront of data and information sharing, both, like I said, at incident, but pre and post. There's a lot of gaps, especially on the fire side, where we have to look at, and we are looking at, investing more in how we manage that data, not just in terms of the in the moment, but how we store, manage, govern, and share that within our own industry and across with our partners. So there's a lot to do, quite honestly, and there's a partnership with groups like CATA. Quite honestly, we need to leverage that much more with your members to build that infrastructure, build that expertise that we're lacking in certain areas, and make sure we have a robust system in place that, you know, at the end of the day, helps, you know, protect our communities, which is essentially what we try to do on an ongoing basis.
And I know that we've been working very closely when we talk about communications. It's not just the radios, is it, JP? I mean, sometimes the technology there is there, but at other times it's perhaps the inability of the technology to function under certain environments or simply to communicate with one another. How big are some of these challenges for your members?
Well, especially in the case of the fire services, it's quite big because we have such a diverse community. We have, you take for an example, we have large departments like Toronto, Vancouver. They're what we call career departments. But with 80% of our departments are firefighters and chiefs being volunteer-based, you're looking at a gap there, and especially when you get into situations where, for example, we'll use the Calgary floods. The interaction, the management of those incidents, when you have differing resource bases and infrastructures between our partnering departments, it complicates matters a fair bit, and you lose precious moments, you lose time, and the ability to respond when you don't have the proper, but we don't have the same type of platforms, or working from the same platforms across between yourself and your partners. So it's a big issue that we're at the CFC level hoping to address on a national scale, to make sure that there is continuity, consistency, alignment across the system.
And when you're talking about then technology issues and challenges at the national scale, I mean, these are the issues that come to head during your national conference every year. Do you want to take a moment or two to discuss what will be taking place this year at the conference, and I guess the plans for the CATA CAFC collaboration at this year's event?
Yeah, we're actually very excited to partner with CATA this year. It's you know, in the past, the conference has been very much a professional development opportunity, information sharing between chiefs, industry, other stakeholders. And I'll be honest with you, technology, while it's been there in fits and spurts, we're trying to cement our ability to, you know, I guess, interact with industry, share with industry, but also cement the importance of technology in the day-to-day role of departments. And we think with the partnership we have with CATA now, with the Dragon's Dens, which we'll be working on together, bringing in leading industry technology partners to interact with, you know, essentially pitch chiefs on various products, services they're developing, get feedback, be able to interact in a way that our chiefs can help industry, and industry can help us better understand how we can do a better job at our level. So we're very excited about the Dragon's Den, and we think it's a great opportunity for both industries to interact. I know it's worked well in the sessions and conferences you've run in the past. Having it at our event now, I think takes it a step further in terms of having a real focus on fire, and then obviously with police and hopefully paramedics and so on down the line. So very excited about that. This year we're having a fair bit of focus on major incidents that have occurred over the last year between Lac-Mégantic and Abigail, how we've responded, what we've used to respond, where the gaps are, and so bringing CATA in this year is actually, I think, very timely, because again, communication, technology, that kind of infrastructure played a major role in those events. Lac-Mégantic itself, when you look at the amount of not just the mutual aid obviously that was in place between different departments, but the coordination. When you have over 1,000 firefighters from Quebec, Ontario, cross-border in Maine, and the work they had to do to coordinate the work around that incident, technology played a big part of that. And I think this is a great opportunity to share those best practices and look forward on what we could do better down the line.
Excellent points, and let me reiterate that we too are also really excited about working with you this year and bringing our unique Dragon's Den concept to your show, and we are, of course, also working with the other chief associations to do very much the same thing, and therefore allow vendors that opportunity. And for those who aren't very familiar with the format, I won't go into many details here because, in fact, shameless plug, JP, you and I will be talking some more at length at this next week in a national teleforum to further explain those opportunities. But essentially, we are providing vendors an opportunity to get in front of the fire chief stakeholders to, as you say, either promote an existing product or service, or to use that time as a private discussion, a focus group, if you will, among chiefs from across the country, and receive invaluable personalized feedback relating to future R&D efforts or market access, and to better understand, what are the environments and the challenges facing firefighters. So knowing that we are speaking next week a little bit more of that, do you want to end this with just a little bit more of what anyone who will be attending your show this year will hear about, and information on how they can learn a little bit more about the show next year, or this year?
Well, you can learn a bit more about the show. We're actually going to be, Vicki Roper, who's our director of our events, will be setting up our website for the event, for the conference as we speak, and will be up in the next week. There'll be a link at www.cafc.ca, and you'll be able to find more information there. And we'll have we're going to be having great speakers, like you said, in the realm around technology, mental health, as well as building out more in-depth discussions, panel sessions around some of the major incidents and issues that are affecting our fire industry as we speak. both around technology, but also a big piece, as I mentioned before, data, not just sharing data or being able to communicate, but how are we as an industry going to be managing, owning, distributing information itself in the future. We feel that's going to be a big part of how we're going to be able to move the industry forward and do a better job of mitigating risk across communities. So that's be a big part of our discussion at the conference, and we hope and we know that the industry partners that will come will be able to help shape that with us. We need that interaction and we need that expertise, and that's something that, again, with our relationship, we're hoping to do even more in the future, quite frankly.
Excellent. Well, we're here with you all the way, JP. Looking forward to continuing our long history together and, in fact, enhancing our offering of knowledge, networking, and ability to influence policy and strategic direction among Canada's critical fire services community. So with that, thank you for joining us today. Do look for details for our conversation next week. JP, maybe you can offer a hint or a clue of who might be joining us during the call next week.
Chief Paul Boisneau, who's our first VP, has also been a big part of our discussions, both at transport of dangerous goods. He's been a major representative for us at the government level in advocacy, as well as in emergency preparedness. He's going to be talking a bit about his experiences, both through Dragon's Den, as well as his experiences on the ground, using technology and so on in his day-to-day work. So he's a great speaker, has a lot of experience, and I think people will be should show up for that one because they'll learn a lot.
Excellent, and the Chief was also a part of our Dragon's Den at last year's event, so certainly be able to provide some clear insight into the value for our industry members who will be looking to participate in that fashion.
Yes.
JP, thank you very much for joining me today for this interview. I really appreciate it. I know you're quite busy. Looking forward to our fuller conversation next week, which will include a very healthy Q&A session for anyone who will be joining us to be able to speak directly to you or the Chief regarding anything at all, quite honestly. So looking forward to you joining us then. JP, thank you again, and thanks to everyone watching today for joining us for another episode, and stay tuned to this channel for more from Canada's public safety leaders.
Thank
you, and have a good day.